Hi, magical people. How is it going? Let me know how you guys are feeling because today, on the 1st of September, Saturn just ingressed back into the sign of Pisces. And he's going to do that for the very last time in the next 30-ish years or so. So, in November, Neptune is going to accompany Saturn in the sign of Pisces as well. So, you can look at it as going back into the past. This is like a loophole, and a lot of people are going to be confronted with things from the past and things that they thought were finished, but now from this month until February next year, this will be a very, very big final ending. So, not really easy energy to deal with. And let me know if you guys feel it in the air. I definitely have, but I am born with Saturn and Pisces. So I'm finally going to wrap up my Saturn return. I cannot wait until that's over. So today we're going to look at Uranus preparing to go retrograde as well. He's already doing that, and he's going to do that on the 5th of September. For some other people, depending on where you live, it's going to be the 6th of September. For example, for Europe, that's going to be on the 6th. If you live in California, I think that will be a day sooner. So, yeah, the week before a planet stations retrograde, the energy is really, really amplified. So a lot of unexpected surprises, a lot of things that are happening out of the blue, things that we cannot wrap our heads around. So yeah, Gemini, it's gonna go back to Taurus for the last time as well. So we have all these outer planets really moving from one sign into the other. And yeah, now it's like the final big wrap up. So the next 6 months could be a little bit tense for sure. And Uranus stations retrograde in Gemini, and it moves back into Taurus in November as well. But I've got all the dates here, and yeah, it's like you can feel it in your head. It's like Uranus in Gemini. It is about shaking our foundations and rewriting our mindset. And it's bringing a lot of global and personal revelations for sure. So in this video, we're going to explore what this powerful transit means collectively and also for each of the 12 rising signs. So expect a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of unexpected turns of fate, and also opportunities to really free yourself from old patterns. But the freeing of old patterns can be a bit of a challenge for sure. Uranus really asks us to integrate the lessons from 2018 until 2024, from whenever its time was in Taurus. So before we really step fully into the fast-paced sign of Uranus in Gemini era. So yeah, a lot of unexpected surprises. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Astrid. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I also offer personal astrology sessions. You'll find a link for that in the description box below. And hey, Katie, good morning. Wow, you must be an early bird because I think it's 8 in the morning where you're from. So thank you for joining. Oh my God, I had like a busy day and I'm still like calming down a bit. And Hannah says, I feel it moving out in 3 days, but it's not a step backwards, black page and a fresh start. Yes, exactly. Even though we can feel like we're going backwards into the past, especially with Saturn and Neptune going back into the sign of Pisces, it is like the final big ending of a very, very big story in our lives, and everyone has it somewhere in their chart. So maybe I'm gonna look whenever Neptune dips back into in Pisces as well to make a video about Saturn and Neptune in the previous houses. So Hannah also says, starting my own business tomorrow. Yeah, wow, Hannah, congratulations. You go, girl. I'm going to switch on the comments so you guys can follow along. And Katie says, feeling very tired and dizzy. Exactly. Like Saturn moving back into the sign of Pisces. Like Pisces is this unconditional love and compassion and oneness and wholeness. Pisces also rules over our sleep. But Saturn tends to put a block on that. It refrains everything. So that's why a lot of people are feeling a little bit weird, a little bit unstable, really thinking like, why is this going wrong? Things are not turning out how they're supposed to be, even though it is exactly as it's supposed to be, but it can be rather difficult to really, see that right now, because Pisces also rules deception and lies, and being in the fog and feeling uncertain and feeling like the ground underneath your feet is shaking, and it's like we cannot really see clearly where we're going right now. So that can be a little bit tough. And Conan also says, yeah, you can feel it. I have a meeting in 2 hours that's going to completely change my life. About to do something I never thought would do a month ago. Wow, congratulations, Conan. Sounds like you're on the right path. So let's look at the presentation for today. So, Uranus in Gemini, the quantum thinker. So it stations retrograde on September the 6th for most of the world. And it's going to do that at 1 degree of Gemini. So then it moves backward into Taurus on November the 8th. And it's going to finally station direct on the 4th of February. And then on the 26th of April, it's going to fully ingress into the sign of Gemini. So, these dates are going to be particularly important because, the energy of the planet is amplified during those days. So expect unexpected things. If things don't go according to plan during those times, then it's just Uranus that is doing its magic. So if we then look what Uranus means and like look at the chart a little bit, but I've included other things as well. Yeah, here. So Uranus is innovation, revolution, liberation, and Uranus is about awakening. And it does that in the sign of Gemini, and Gemini rules over our media, over communication, over transport as well. So expect a lot of truth to be coming out in the media as we speak, especially on the 6th. And so if we look at Uranus in the sign of Gemini, Uranus always disrupts. It is about awareness, change, liberation, and it's going to do that in all these themes here right now. So if we then quickly go back to the chart, then we see that, this is like the first retrograde journey in the sign of Gemini. So it's a mutable air sign, and it resembles the twins. And Uranus ingressed into Gemini on July the 7th this year. So Uranus, it doesn't move quickly. It shakes loose what's really stagnant. It's going to dismantle a lot of false stability, and it's going to reawaken ourselves to our true authenticity. So retrogrades always intensify Uranian energy. So during this period, especially now this week, the external chaos from in our local environment, which is a sign of Gemini, now it's going to turn all inwards. So retrogrades are about going back to the past and seeing how all of this chaos has affected us so far. So it's going to bring a lot of shocks of self-awareness and also radical reconfiguration in. So where is life urging you to break free, and where are you being pushed to be more authentic, to be more yourself? And this is really about realignment and a chance to integrate the sudden breakthroughs since July's ingress. So the backwards step into the sign of Taurus really reopens all the unfinished business of 2018 until 2025. By April the 26th, 2026, then Uranus will fully ingress into Gemini until 2033-34. So this is like the final clearing of Uranus and Taurus, a big moment of reckoning. We are going to see the last big shocks in all the Taurus themes before we're going to enter the digital acceleration of Uranus and Gemini. So we've already mentioned a little bit about all the threads, and you can screenshot it and look at it later if you want to dig a little bit deeper into what Uranus means in the sign of Gemini. But we're gonna look at what Uranus has actually brought us so far in the sign of Gemini since it moved in on July. So Uranus, it is the sky god. It is in an air sign. We are already seeing a very rapid developments in aviation and transport and communication as well. So what happened in July 2025, the Genius Act was passed. So that is actually the first major US cryptocurrency legislation, really establishing regulation around stable coins that are tied to the dollar. So we also see automated drone deliveries. In August, they tested the vertical takeoff air taxis as well. Really, yeah, it is showing that it's going to totally revolutionize our way of transport and our way of delivery. We're also seeing a lot of talk about space tourism, a lot going on with the UFO revelations, and of course 3A Atlas, very big interstellar discovery as well. These topics are all rising in public conversations right now. And of course, when the 8-year transit of Uranus and Gemini is going to be over, we're going to see driverless cars to be very, very normal. So Gemini also governs exchange, like meanings of exchange, also computers, communication. So we're going to see a lot of announcements around AI and quantum computing and new types of communication technologies as well. Another thing that we're also seeing, of course, is weather modification practices that are actually quite normal right now. I know a few years ago when I posted things about chemtrails and cloud seeding on Facebook, that a lot of people were calling me an absolute lunatic. Well, now it's become quite normal. Not that that is normal. It's just like they admit that they do that. So we're gonna see a lot of things with the weather going on. Uranus will go back to the 29th critical degree of Taurus. Taurus rules our Mother Earth, so we can expect a lot of extreme weather in the next few months. So if we look back at what Uranus and Taurus has brought us so far, that was, since 2018, it has destabilized what we thought was unshakable. So especially our Earth and climate, geoengineering, earthquakes that went off, volcanoes, a lot of extreme weather. But also a big shakeup in our financial system. We saw the cryptocurrency booms. We see inflation, we see a lot of instability, and also banking crisis, and more to come for sure, because the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that will be fully exact on February the 20th of 2026, that will be conjunct the MC of the Federal Reserve Bank. So I do expect a lot of financial upheaval in the months of February, March, April. Saturn-Neptune conjunct and Uranus in its last critical degrees again before it makes its shift into Gemini fully. So that will be a very, very big overhaul of our banking system. Uranus and Taurus has also put a very big emphasis on our land and food. We saw a lot of farmers' protests. We're seeing still a lot of supply chain disruptions, and also, Taurus is about our comfort and our security. So we saw a lot of shifts in value and also what home means. A lot of shifts in property. A lot of shifts in 2020, we saw a big shift of a lot of money from the middle class going to the 1% as well. That's also something that we saw, unfortunately. But Taurus really creates a lot of stability and grounding, but Uranus really cracks open foundations to reveal illusions as well. So on a collective scale, we've also seen the rise of Airbnb. Food delivery systems got really, really popular. We saw a lot of themes around decentralization. We also saw a lot of rebellion movements. These are all classic Uranus and Taurus manifestations. So this retrograde, it is going to be the final review, and it really asks us, what have you truly learned about security since 2018? And also, what are the practices that you can actually carry forward whenever Uranus leaves Taurus for good? This is about the integration before we get a full leap into the sign of Gemini. And Taurus, of course, it is a fixed sign. It doesn't like change at all. So it actually resists change. So and Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It demands it. It demands shocks. It demands change. But Taurus doesn't really feel like that. So the retrograde is going to highlight again our fears of instability. So fear of losing money, fear of scarcity, fear of stepping into the unknown. So clinging to our comfort zones, yeah, it is a coping mechanism of control, but it also causes us to miss beautiful opportunities. And true Taurus security is not about having a lot of possessions or status, especially not about status anymore now that Pluto has moved out of Capricorn. It is rooted in values that actually endure change over a long time. So the paradox of Uranus retrograde here is very clear. Freedom really comes through surrender and not control. And there's an extra big emphasis with Saturn and Neptune dipping back in that sign as well. And like I've already mentioned this in the beginning of this year, I think it's in my 2025 deep dive, which I posted in late January or beginning of February. I've mentioned that with Neptune and Saturn together, there's a very big risk of real pandemics and real things going down in the health area. And we're going to have Virgo solar eclipse on the 21st of September that doesn't really look good at all. And I just read that in the past week, there's another case of the plague. So someone in California has been diagnosed with the plague, and I'm like, oh my God, let's just hope and let's just all pray that with this Virgo solar eclipse opposite Saturn and Neptune, that there's not going to be something new coming out in regards to our health. And I hope something is not going to spread again. Because I feel like if that were to happen, there is an astrological potential where we need to really, be mindful of. And I feel if something were to happen, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, wow, this is just another control mechanism of the state to keep us all, obeying. And I feel like if something were to happen, that it could be more serious than what we saw in 2020. So I'm also going to do a whole other video on how I take care of my own health, what helps me, some practices, some supplements, some oils that I've been taking. Hit the bell button below if you want to get notified for that. But I'm going to try to do my best to give you guys some help and some assistance in how to take care of your health and how I'm trying to manage that in all these crazy Pisces, Virgo eclipses that we're going to see in the next few weeks. So I just wanted to say that as well. And hi, Stain. And with that being said, we can continue. So, Uranus and Taurus also rules seismic activity and earthly instability. So, Taurus rules Earth itself. Think about soil, land, tectonic plates. Uranus rules shocks and things moving, so earthquakes as well. And when Uranus shifts direction, the ground is going to shake. So think about climate and ecology are going to really return to the forefront. We can also expect a more extreme winter weather in the northern hemisphere. We can also see possible agricultural disruptions and also by that heightened awareness of environmental degradation. So between November 25 and also February 26th, we can expect a lot of volcanic eruptions, a lot of earthquakes, and a lot of extreme weather, and the ring of fire is going to be especially implicated. Taurus rules Gaia, Mother Earth, so the instability is really a wake-up call to care for our Earth and also our own bodies. We need to really put an emphasis on sustainability and also ecological awareness. And with saying that, I also want to put an emphasis on yes, there's something wrong with our climate. There is something wrong with pollution regarding our Mother Earth. That is for sure. A lot of people are denying that because one side doesn't believe in climate change, the other side is fully pro, but I think we need to all get a bit in the middle, because yes, we have a problem with plastic and pollution, and of course that's very, very obvious. But I also want to mention that like CO2 is like oxygen for our trees, so there is like a bump in the story, and like our climate changes over time. That's always been like this. So, but still, we need to take better care of her. We need to find some serious solutions for, all the beaches that are, like all the plastic that washes up on the beaches. And yeah, I think the next few months will be very, very, very big wake-up call in regards to that. So I hope we can all together find a solution and take better care of our beautiful Mother Earth. So, what can we expect? Now that it retrogrades back into the sign of Gemini, we're gonna see potential issues with cyber attacks or potential issues with the power grid, especially on the days or the weeks surrounding the ingress back into the sign of Gemini, which will be April of 2026. And also now, because it's going to shift out of Gemini. So whenever planet moves or shifts signs, then the energy is really, really heightened. So there can be cybersecurity problems or internet outages or some disruptions in our power supply as well. Then also, of course, we're going to see the implementation of the digital euro and the digital ID, CBDC. We're going to see pilot testing regarding to that, battles around the regulation. We're going to see a lot of public backlash. Carbon budgets are also going to be part of the whole Uranus back into Taurus thing, and controllable wallets that are actually tied to the state and authority. So what once was called like a conspiracy theory, it will be a reality by late 2025. So I'm not saying that this is going to last. We have Pluto in we have Pluto in Aquarius right now, and from the 28th of August, Pluto has been going out of bounds. So whenever a planet goes out of bounds, it means that it's 23 degrees north or south of the declination from the sun. So it means that it's not under control of the sun anymore, and it moves south. So out of bounds to the south. When Pluto moves out of bounds to the north, that is a whole different story. When it moves out of bounds to the south, then it means that the power is being brought back to the people. And it's going to do that for the next 10 years. From September until the end of the year, each year it returns. So definitely the next 9 years for sure, the winter and fall for the Northern Hemisphere can get a little bit more intense with Pluto out of bounds. It just does what it wants. It's not under control of the sun anymore. So yeah, this is going to create a little bit of chaos for sure, on top of all the rest that we're seeing right now. So not saying that all of this is going to last. I'm just saying that they're going to try for sure. Yeah. By that, we're going to see a lot of labor unrest. Also, by implementation of AI at work, we're going to see a lot of protests again. I do suspect new farmer protests, a lot of cryptocurrency swings. I think we're going to see some wild volatility. We're going to see bubbles and crashes, and again, more regulation battles as well. And then, of course, the environmental crisis that is gonna happen as well. But like, we already know this energy. We're already in that energy since 2018, and we have been feeling very destabilized by the influence. So this is like the final shakeup before it settles into Gemini. So yeah, the message is very, very clear here. We really need to liberate ourselves from false security. We need to prepare for some digital acceleration, and also we need to align with values that really can withstand disruption. So in the next part of the video, I'm gonna look at the readings for the 12 signs, and yeah, I'm just like quickly reading the comments. We're gonna start with my dear fellow Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So you're gonna have Uranus stationing retrograde, and it's gonna happen from the third house, and it's gonna move back into the second house. So the third house is about communication, learning, and also our local environment. And the second house is the house of money, income, our values, and also our material security. So since 2018, Uranus has been electrifying your second house. It has been shaking up finances, possessions, and also your sense of stability. So some of you might definitely have faced some sudden changes in income, some unexpected expenses, but also breakthroughs in how you earn and support yourself. So Uranus is very up and down. One year it really creates a breakthrough. The next year it causes a lot of instability. It also, of course, depends on what it does to your own natal birth chart, of course. But now Uranus is going retrograde back into Taurus. That's going to happen in November. And it's going to offer a final review of these financial and lessons around self-worth. So it isn't destabilization for its own sake. It's also about breaking free from these outdated definitions of our self-worth and what stability truly means for Aries. So on a deeper level, Uranus also rules over your 11th house of friendships, your networks, and your long-term aspirations. So that means that all these financial and self-worth issues and lessons are directly linked to your social role within your community, and it's also tied to your future vision. So think about how you earn and also how you value yourself, and that cannot be separate from your bigger dreams. It is tied to the people you connect with and also the causes or your visions that really inspire you. So are you building security in a way that supports your future, or are you like still clinging to old systems that no longer align with who you're becoming? So with all this energy, you might revisit an old job or an old side hustle or old ways of a particular revenue stream. Something from the past might surface, but this time with a chance to approach it completely different. So some of you might also experiment with digital platforms, with technology, with independent income sources. There might also be some surprises in your friendships or within your community. There could definitely be some disruptions in your community or in groups of people that you work with. So that can actually affect your money or your stability. There can also be sudden financial expenses, and it's really going to push you to redefine what true security means. And the key here is integration. Taking the bold and the innovative changes from Uranus that he has been stirring since 2018. And now we really need to anchor them in sustainable practices before Uranus moves permanently into the third house. And it's going to do that in April of 2026. So that's going to bring 7 years of radical change in communication, learning, and in your community life or your local environment. Also, brothers and sisters, there can be some surprises with them as well, especially now as Uranus shifts back from your third to your second. So just know that by April next year, you are going to wrap up Uranus in the second, and very long 8-year cycle of unexpected things in regards to money. So hopefully we are going to find some better stability in that. So just know that your worth is not measured by what you own, but actually by the courage you show in creating freedom for yourself. So good luck, my dear Aries. We have Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. How's it going, Taurus? So for you, Uranus retrograde is going to highlight the shift from your second house of money, income, and values back into your sign. It's going to dip back into your first house. This is about your identity, your self-image. It's also about personal liberation, actually becoming more of who you are. So you've been feeling that energy since 2018. Uranus has been radically transforming your sense of self. and it's actually been pushing you through cycles of reinvention, and it's doing that so you can break away from old conditioning. You can break away from old, like you can break out of really restrictive roles, and if people try to really oppress you, then yeah, this is like your final chance to rebellion against that, or to rebel against that. So yeah, you've gone through some surprising phases of change for sure. Could include career pivots, but also physical transformation, your haircut, your body, sudden awakenings about your truth. And if you're truthful as well, very important for you, my dear Taurus, to be very, very truthful and honorable, because we look at, yeah, Saturn and Neptune have been in your 12th house since a few months now. Uranus gonna shift back into your first house. If you've been deceiving, or if you have not been completely honest, then Uranus is gonna offer you a very, very big shock. That's for sure. So yeah, Uranus dipping back into the first house one final time is really asking you to integrate all of the reinventions that you've lived through since 2018. And before Uranus permanently moves back into Gemini in April of 2026. So on a deeper level, Uranus really rules over your 10th house of career, reputation, also your public life. So it means that this personal reinvention that you've been living is directly tied to your role in the world. So every time that you've broken free from this outdated identity, it has affected your career path, and also the way others see you, or your reputation as being really affected by this. So people are going to act as mirrors of your growth, and they're also going to reflect back all the progress that you've been making. So they're going to point out where you're actually still hiding behind old versions of yourself, or you're going to get called out if you're not completely truthful. So yeah, are you ready to own your authentic presence and let the world see the real you? Some of you are going to want to change your style, update something within your clothes or your appearance. You can also shift your lifestyle in a very bold and unexpected way. So some of you are also going to feel restless in situations where you've actually outgrown your role, and you want to experiment with more independence and live from a more authentic way. Just know that old insecurities about your identity, or like your deservingness, that could all resurface right now, but only so that it can be released once and for all. So break free from restrictive partnerships and jobs or expectations that actually no longer align with you. And others are going to really attract surprising opportunities simply by showing up in a very unapologetic way. By February 2026, you'll be ready to move forward into a new era, because then Uranus will be back at its final, last critical 29 degree, before in April it shifts back into Gemini. So yeah, you're actually ready to move forward. So focus on the shifts from who you are to how you actually now exchange your ideas. Look at how your communication has shifted, and also, yeah, share your voice with the world around you, especially by April 2026. Something in the third house and the second house might completely shift, but it's also going to affect you. But the way how you speak, how you're honest, how you're authentic is going to create a whole new source of income, and that can like definitely mark a very, very big change in a Uranian influence over your second house. And some of you are really, really going to break free in regards of making your own money. And that there's going to be a very, very big career shift by April of next year for a lot of Tauruses. So yeah, you are not who you were back in 2018. You are actually the living proof that reinvention is very possible, and that your authenticity is actually your true power. So good luck, my dear Taurus. And also let me know what your guys are gonna feel during the last dip of Uranus in your sign. I wish you good luck. We have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. How's it going, Gemini? Like, how are you feeling? Uranus is preparing to station retrograde and move back from your sign into the 12th house. So let me know what's been going on since July of 2025 and what are you experiencing with Uranus dipping into your sign. It must be a lot to handle, and I'm like really curious how you guys are dealing with that. So Uranus is shifting back from your first house of self, your body, your identity, back into the 12th house of the subconscious, a very private house. It's about hidden patterns and also about spirituality. So since 2018, Uranus in Taurus has been shaking up your inner world. It has also been exposing unconscious conditioning, self-sabotaging habits, and old fears that really operated beneath the surface or within the background. So Uranus is going to enter Gemini. Uranus entered Gemini on July the 2025 this year. So yeah, you already had your first taste of reinvention. This was like a sneak peek. So now you're seeing new ways of expressing your identity. There can be sudden shifts in how other people see you. There can also be sparks of personal freedom coming up, and Uranus has moved forward and is going to move forward permanently in April of 2026. So now it's the last dip back into your 12th house. This is like one big final last purge of all these hidden patterns and unconscious behaviors. So Uranus, of course, rules your ninth house of higher wisdom, spirituality, religion, your belief system, and also being able to look at the bigger picture and also long distance travel. And it means that the subconscious clearing that is happening now is going to be directly connected to your philosophy of life and is also going to boost your spiritual growth. And old fears and patterns, they aren't just random. They've actually been blocking you from living in alignment with your beliefs and to be able to trust in your higher path. So expect some lightning bolt realizations about where your fate and also your freedom, or maybe your view on the world has actually been limited by subconscious conditioning. So with Uranus back to the 12th, you might feel like you need some time more for rest, for retreat, for solitude. Your inner world is gonna demand attention one last time. So you can pick back up old practices, spiritual practices like meditation, journaling, therapy, or simply be more or spend more time in nature. And yeah, these are all going to be anchors of healing. And also dreams could be very, very powerful and also very symbolic. Messages could also be hidden in that. So yeah, if you do receive a symbolic message, that's going to guide you to release what no longer serves you. So have a dream journal, and some of you might also experience sudden endings and some hidden struggles. Anxiety can pop back up again. The 12th house is also about secret enemies. Can also be patterns of self-sabotage that are actually breaking apart or that are becoming very, very obvious, or it's like exploding in your face. There could also be unexpected breakthroughs in a very private way. If you're alone, there can be moments of insight that really shift your whole perception of yourself. And also know that by February of 2026, the inner clearing that has been going on is going to prepare you fully before Uranus permanently, or like for the next 8 years, moves back into your sign, guys. So then you're going to enter the years of reinvention, bold experimentation, and also very, very big personal liberation. So, and also with Saturn and Neptune dipping back into your 10th house, there can be a very big change in your job. You can feel blocked by your boss, by one of your parents. You can also feel like there's some strain or a block on your reputation because Uranus dips back into the 12th, can be tied to some secretive behavior from other people, especially in the career area as well. So be a bit mindful. Your whole status can actually change within now and April of 2026. So yeah, my dear Gemini, sometimes the greatest revolutions happen in silence, and this is the place to release the old fear, and also know that when you do that, your true self will rise up again without the bounded chains. So yeah, get rid of the chains, my dear Gemini. I know you're capable of doing that, and I wish you good luck. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have Uranus retrograde shifting back from your 12th house of the subconscious and the spirituality and inner growth. And it's going to dip back into your 11th house of friendships, community, and also your long-term aspirations. So since 2018, Uranus in Taurus, it has been revolutionizing your social world. Think about friendships, networks, groups of people that you work with, and also your sense of belonging within that. So, yeah, you might have experienced some sudden breaking ties within friendships. There can be unexpected new connections being replaced by that. There can also be breakthroughs around your role within communities. And with Uranus dipping back into Taurus for the last time, there can really be some eccentric, new, like-minded people that are gonna cross your path. So really be mindful and pay attention to that. The focus has now turned inwards with Uranus shifting in its retrograde motion, and it's gonna stir subconscious liberation and also spiritual awakening within your 12th. But before the cycle deepens more or uncovers more things behind the scenes, Uranus is asking you now to review your 11th house lesson one last time. So on a deeper level, Uranus rules over your 8th house of intimacy. The 8th is about shared resources, transformation, joint finances. This actually means that the friendships and the communities that you're revisiting now are actually tied to a lot of trust, a lot of vulnerability. There can also be some strange power dynamics coming forth within friendships. So ask yourself, do your connections empower your growth, or do they actually drain your energy? This is important. With things happening in the mystical, occult houses, this is a little bit more difficult to grasp sometimes, or to really face as well. So the retrograde is also going to highlight where old affiliations or old allies no longer reflect your authentic self, and also where new connections could actually spark true transformation. So let go of old stagnant friendships. Also distance yourself from groups that actually suppress your individuality. On the positive side, you could also receive some surprising invitations. You could reconnect with old allies. You could discover a new network that actually feels aligned with your next chapter, and you could like really bump into like-minded people for sure. So the 11th house is also your hopes and your dreams, and yeah, the ones you once pursued may actually also resurface for a review. And are they still part of your authentic vision, or is it time now to release them? Some of you, Cancer, might also step into some new social causes or organizations that are actually connected with like-minded people, while others are going to choose solitude to refine your long-term dreams again. And by February 2026, when Uranus shifts back direct, you're going to have a greater clarity about which communities, like-minded people, which goals, and also which collective spaces are worth your time and effort. Because then Uranus is going to prepare to continue its journey through your 12th house, and then it's going to bring years of very deep inner renewal and spiritual awakening, and a lot of surprises within the subconscious that are actually going to set you free. So true belonging, it isn't about fitting in. It is actually about finding the people and dreams that let you fully be yourself. So good luck, my dear Cancer. Thank you so much, Katie. That is so sweet. Thank you. Okay, we have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Uranus is gonna go retrograde and it's gonna move from your 11th house of friendships back into your 10th house of career and reputation, and also your status and your public life. So, since 2018, Uranus has been shaking up your professional path, and it's actually been forcing you to question what success really means to you, and also how to experiment with more of an unconventional approach to your career and legacy. And you might actually face some sudden changes in your life direction. You could also have been breaking free from a role in your career that has been unstable, or like causes a lot of instability. There could also be breakthroughs that pushed you towards less traditional but more authentic calling. And hi, Jelena, you are part of the Leo gang. That's so cool. I love the dear Leos. They're so much fun. So now with Uranus retrograding back into Taurus for like the final time, this cycle is going to bring a very last review of your 10th house, and it's going to help you to integrate lessons around ambition and visibility and also your public identity. And on a deeper level, Uranus, it rules your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, marriage, but also contracts. So this really means that your career story has been closely tied to who you collaborate with, and who you've chosen as a partner. There's going to be a lot of professional shifts, and they might be mirrored by changes in your dynamics within relationships. It's going to show you where all the external recognition or the success, that it actually really depends on the people that you align with. So during this retrograde, you might actually find yourself asking yourself, like, do my career choices support authentic partnerships? And do my partnerships also allow me to shine in my true career path? And there can be some shifts in that, I'm not gonna lie. It can bring career shakeups. It can also bring a redefinition of a role within your career. There can also be very big shifts in your public visibility. So, and because Uranus goes back to the past, an old project or an old role might also resurface, and being renewed as well. Some Leos might also be offered a very unconventional opportunity that looks very unusual from the outside, but can feel very, very liberating within. And others might also feel a little bit restless and like ready to pivot careers entirely, really choosing passion and freedom over the prestige. So, and at the same time, there might also be unexpected recognition, or also a bit of challenges to your public image. But it's going to push you, or nudge you to clarify what success truly means to you. And by February 2026, whenever Uranus stations back direct, you're going to emerge with a way clearer vision of your ambitions, or your career trajectory. So then you might be ready to really carry your authentic definition of what success means forward. And as Uranus moves back into Gemini, that is then going to spark a 7-year of transformation within your networks, friendships, your hopes and dreams, and your long-term aspirations for the future. So success, it is not what the world, like success is not what, it is not defined by what the world thinks about success. It is actually how boldly you step into the spotlight, and how you own your own truth without caring what other people think. So be unconventional, show your weird self to the people, to the public, and that will actually be very, very beneficial for you. So good luck, my dear Leo. We have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and Skylar says, exhausted Virgo, September 15, looking for good news. Well, I'm an exhausted Virgo rising as well. So I totally understand you. We're gonna have a solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo on the 21st of September, and it's not gonna be an easy one. So, and with Saturn and Neptune dipping back into Pisces, into our opposite houses, a lot of revelations within our connections to other people, and things are gonna be shown to us that we might not we might not like very much. So yeah, Virgos, oh my god, you guys have been going through it, and I understand as a Virgo rising. So Uranus retrograde is going to move from your 10th house of career and public standing back into your 9th house of philosophy, belief system, travel, also higher education, higher wisdom. So since 2018, Uranus in Taurus, it has been shaking up our worldview. It has been pushing us towards these unexpected learning experiences. Also, a lot of spiritual breakthroughs, shifts within religion, how we look at the world, and also encounters with very with different cultures that gave us a lot of different perspectives. Yeah, and I always say us because I am a Virgo rising as well. But now, as Uranus is going to return to your 9th house, you're actually being asked to revisit and integrate all those lessons one last time before Uranus moves forward into your career zone for the next 8 years by April 2026. So this is a retrograde of reflection. Like, what have you learned about freedom, about the meaning of life, about truth, about religion, about spirituality since 2018? And also, how does it shape the path that you want to walk on next on a deeper level? Uranus also rules your 6th house of work, health, daily routines, and service towards others, and also pets. And this really connects your philosophical breakthroughs directly to your daily lifestyle and your daily habits. The beliefs that you clarify now, they will really influence how you work and how you serve others, and also how you structure your daily life. So if your routines have felt a little bit too small for your burning spirit, then Uranus is really going to push you to expand beyond them. And the retrograde asks you, are your beliefs supporting your freedom and your everyday life, or are they keeping you bound to old patterns? So some of you might rediscover an old course or an old study, because the 9th house is also about education. Some of you are going to reconnect with an old teacher or a mentor. Some of you are going to pull to revisit a country or a certain travel that you've been before, or a country that you've been before. There are also going to be opportunities for publishing that can also expand your perspective and expand your belief system within the world. There can also be unexpected insights that actually can arrive through books, through new courses, new study, new spiritual practices as well. And on the flip side, if Uranus makes a bad aspect in your natal chart, or to a planet in your natal chart, then there could actually be a lot of disruptions in travel and education, or in your ideological frameworks. And these disruptions are going to force you to reassess what you believe in. So it is about shaking free from the mental cages, the outdated philosophies as well, everything that actually limits your authenticity. So know that by the time that Uranus returns to the 10th house of career, so it's going to switch direct in February, and it's going to enter the 10th house by April again. So the beliefs that you refine now will act as your inner compass, and they're also going to guide the ambitions that you pursue, and they're going to change the legacy that you build in the world. So free your mind, and the path ahead is gonna become very, very obvious and unlimited, and your truth is the foundation of your destiny. So I wish you the best of luck, my dear Virgos, especially on the solar eclipse that is about to happen by the end of the month. Also know, my dear Virgos, you're gonna have this solar eclipse while Mars is going to square Pluto. So by the end of September, if there's some conflict or if there's some things that are not going according to plan, if you feel a little bit lost and uncertain, just know that it's the energy of this moment, and it's all destined, and we all going to need to surrender to whatever is going to happen during the fall for the Northern Hemisphere. So I wish you the best of luck, my dear Virgo. Then we have Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You are gonna have Uranus retrograde, shifting back from your ninth house of beliefs, and also higher learning and travel and education. And it's gonna dip back into your eighth house of intimacy, joint finances, and power dynamics. And also vulnerability and trauma, but also taxes and mortgages. And since 2018, Uranus in Taurus, it has been revolutionizing a very vulnerable terrain, and it has been shaking up your financial dependencies on others. It has been shaking up some trust issues and also some emotional attachments that once felt unable to overcome that. So you might also experience sudden shifts in your shared money, some shared assets, wake up calls within debt, within taxes, within business partnerships. This is actually very deep emotional awakening around intimacy, boundaries, financial, psychological, and sexual attachments to other people. And it is actually about letting go of control. So now that Uranus retrograde moves back into the eighth, this is the final time that you're being asked to revisit all of these themes and really integrate the lessons of liberation from fear, from trauma, and from unhealthy entanglements. On a deeper level, Uranus rules your fifth house of creativity, children, romance, joy, but also your self-expression. So this really ties your eighth house healing of intimacy and trust and these shared resources. All of that is directly linked to your ability to being able to create freely, to love authentically, and also to express yourself without any fear. So the more that you untangle from unhealthy dynamics or these controlling mechanisms and toxic attachments, the more that you're gonna open up space for genuine passion and play and fun and also creation. Like, you need to purge all of the trauma for your inner child, which is also found in the fifth. So yeah, are you holding back your light because of fear? Or are you holding back your light because you want to control life? And how would you maybe expand your joy if you were to be fully free? So yeah, this can really bring up a lot of financial restructuring. This can bring up unexpected gifts from other people. The eighth house is money that you don't have to work for yourself. There can be unexpected gains from investments as well. There can be dealing with old debts, with agreements that are going to be renegotiated. It is also a good time for revisiting old investments and looking if you can change something within that. And in the relationship, you're definitely going to confront hidden power dynamics. So where have you given away your power? Where have you given away too much? Or where have you relied too heavily upon others? For some, it can mean a sudden break from a draining tie. For others, it can be a chance to really rebuild trust on healthier terms with each other. So also expect emotional breakthroughs. There can be a big release of fears and trauma and taboo subjects and also psychological baggage. All of that can be released, all of the things that have kept you stuck. So by February 2026, Uranus is going to shift back to its direct motion, and then the integration of all these eighth house lessons will prepare you for Uranus to fully move into your ninth house again. And then it's going to put a focus on your worldview, on your spirituality, and also your freedom of thought. All of this will really expand. So for now, the work is about finishing the process of letting go within the depths of your soul in the eighth house, so you can actually step forward without any chains. So unbound yourself. So yeah, the true freedom really begins when you release the fears that keep you tied to what no longer serves your soul. So I wish you the best of luck, my dear Libra. And Katie Sawyer says you hit the nail on the head, dead on. Okay, then we're gonna look at Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So, my dear Scorpios, how are you doing? I want to give you a little heads up and a reminder that when we are going to have the solar eclipse in Virgo by the 21st of September, around the same time, your two chart rulers, Mars and Pluto, they will square each other. So, might be a little bit of a difficult time, and use your power wisely during the end of September. Don't get out the stinger if it's not necessary, but it might be necessary. That's why I'm mentioning it. But try to really remain within your center during that time. So for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, Uranus retrograde is going to shift from your eighth house of intimacy, the Scorpio house. You're very, very familiar with the energy. So joint finances, investments, mortgages, debts, power dynamics, and Uranus is going to shift back to your seventh house of relationships, your one-on-one partnerships, your business partnerships, your contracts, and since 2018, Uranus in Taurus has been electrifying your relational world. So a lot of destabilizing energy within marriage, within very, very close one-on-one friendships, within business alliances, and also within contracts that you've signed. So you've likely experienced unexpected shifts and very big, important key relationships. There could have been sudden breakups, surprising new beginnings, or also the realization that old relational dynamics no longer work for you. Now, as Uranus is going to dip back into the seventh house for the last time, you're actually being asked to reflect one final time on how you show up in your closest bonds, and also what freedom within your connection to others truly looks like. On a deeper level, Uranus rules your fourth house of home, your ancestral lineage, your family, your roots, your deep emotions. So this actually means that your partnership dynamics are deeply tied to your sense of emotional security and also your sense of belonging. Your sense of belonging within the bloodline, within the family tree, which is like you can read the book The Family Fountain as well, and how you need to really take in the right place within the family fountain. It ain't easy, but the people that you commit to really are going to reflect how safe you feel to build some new foundations. And are your relationships giving you the freedom to be yourself at home and in the world? Or are they actually keeping you locked in old family, old family stuff, or like old conditioning patterns? So yeah, this retrograde is going to bring some shifts within signed contracts, maybe marriage, within commitments, within long-standing friendships, like one-on-one, very close bonds. And some relationships are going to demand some renegotiation of boundaries. A lot of you guys are going to want to experience a lot more freedom within relationships and definitely within marriage with Uranus back to the seventh house. It's opposite your sign. You're like massively implicated by this. So early degrees, Sun, Moon, Scorpio risings are going to really late degrees. I'm sorry, you are really going to feel that. So yeah, you could also encounter new unconventional people, surprises within people, people who really act as a catalyst, people who are going to shake you out of your comfort zone and are going to actually reflect the hidden patterns back to you. So if you've been like over accommodating, or if you've been like dealing with codependent issues, then Uranus will really highlight that. So if you've been too guarded or too afraid of vulnerability, these new encounters might actually encourage you to open up in more healthier ways. And by February 2026, Uranus will station direct in your seventh house again, and the lessons of this retrograde will actually prepare you for Uranus's full return to the eighth, where trust, intimacy, and also shared resources will really undergo a deeper transformation in the years ahead. So, my dear Scorpios, know that partnerships flourish not through control, but through the cover, through the really being open, really being able to open your heart and having the courage to really love with both freedom and trust at the same time. And I know that's a little bit more difficult for you, my dear Scorpios, but Uranus is gonna make a change in that anyway. So I wish you the best of luck, my dear Scorpio. We have Sagittarius and Moon or Rising. For Sagittarius, Uranus retrograde is going to shift from your seventh house of partnerships and marriage and business partnerships and one-on-one contracts back into your sixth house of work, health, well-being, daily routines, pets. So since 2018, Uranus and Taurus has been disrupting your everyday life, your work schedules, your habits, your health regimens, and also your relationship to productivity and service towards other people. So many of you might have faced sudden job losses, sudden job changes, shifting within teams and within colleagues at work. There can also be a lot of health matters that demanded a quick adaptation, and also health matters that needed to be fixed in a very alternative way. For example, with homeopathics or acupuncture or anything within the more alternative area of medicine, which is actually the real. But yeah, that's another story. So more recently, Uranus has moved into your seventh house, and that began on July this year. So that has been shaking up your relationships, your contracts, your partnerships. But before the cycle continues, this retrograde is going to pull you back into the sixth house to reevaluate your patterns of work and well-being. So on a deeper level, Uranus rules your third house of communication, learning, short distance trips, also your local environment, your brothers and sisters. So this really links your daily routines and your work life to how you think, speak, and also connect to your immediate world. So it really suggests that breakthroughs in productivity or health are going to ripple into your communication style and your mindset as well. So, are your daily habits supporting clarity and freedom within your daily interactions and communications with others, or are they draining your energy and are they dimming your spark? Uranus wants you to break free. So, real life things that can happen within this retrograde motion, some of you might see some changes within your schedule. There can be some disruption within your job duties, or within your health and wellness as well. So if you have been dealing with some health issues, some old issues could resurface. So they can actually be addressed in a different way this time. Maybe that's gonna be through alternative, holistic, or unconventional medicine, or unconventional methods. So at your work, Uranus is going to stir some disruption with coworkers. There can also be some sudden new responsibilities that can add a little bit of stress to your life. There can also be unexpected changes within the organization that you work with. Maybe you're going to be forced to reorganize. Some of you are going to really discover alternative approaches to health and diet and also productivity that is going to radically improve the quality of your life. Some are going to realize it's also time to release perfectionism. Yeah, by February 2026, Uranus will shift back direct, and all these insights will prepare you to carry a healthier, freer, and more balanced sense of service. And then by April, Uranus is going to continue its journey through your seventh house, where all of your relationships and your commitments will really, really undergo a very powerful transformation in the 7 to 8 years ahead. So, Sag, freedom really begins in the small choices of every day, and you know that very, very well. So, align your habits with your truth, and also know if you do that, that your life will expand more effortlessly. So, good luck, my dear Sag. We have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Uranus is going to go retrograde from your sixth house of work, health, your daily routines, your productivity, and it's going to go back into the fifth of creativity, joy, romance, children, self expression. And since 2018, Uranus in Taurus, it has been revolutionizing your creative fire, your love affairs, your self expression, your bond with your children. And some of you might well discovered some cool new hobbies, experience maybe some surprises through your children or in the life of your children. And some of you have been pushed to really free yourself from the fear of judgment by really expressing yourself very unapologetically. So recently, Uranus has moved into your sixth since July this year. So the focus has really shifted towards restructuring your daily work, your habits, and also your health and well-being. And before Uranus settles here fully, this retrograde is your one. It is the final call for like a one last review of the fifth house. And it's going to remind you that you need to integrate joy, play, and creative freedom into your path. And the way you experience freedom and joy might be very unconventional. So, on a deeper level, Uranus rules the second house of money, your values, your self worth. So, this also means that your creative breakthroughs, romance, and experience related to children are actually tied to how you value yourself and also what you believe you deserve. So, the retrograde is asking you, do you allow yourself to experience joy without guilt? And do you value creativity and play as much as productivity and responsibility? And I know this is a bit of a more harsh lesson for you, my dear Capricorns. So look at old creative projects that made you happy. Look at old hobbies that you want to reintegrate again. Even old romances might resurface, either for closure or maybe some of you are going to feel freshly inspired by that. So you might also feel sudden bursts of creative and artistic or new romantic drive. Some of you are going to discover new outlets of expression that can feel very, very liberating. And if you're a parent, then your children are really going to act as a big mirror and they're going to push you to release control and embrace spontaneity. So at work, you might feel called to really blend more of the fifth creativity within your professional life. So some of you are really going to turn a passion into a long-term project or even are going to make their whole career out of it. So Uranus here shakes away the inhibition or also the guilt about being joyful in this serious draining world. And it's reminding you that pleasure, it is actually not a distraction. It is part of our purpose. And by February 2026, you're going to carry all these lessons into Uranus's ongoing work into the sixth house. So it's going to ensure that your daily routines, they are not only disciplined, but they're also going to be infused with a lot of joy and play and creativity. And then there's going to be a big emphasis on authentic freedom within your daily life. So, joy is not separate from success. It is actually the spark that makes true achievement possible. So have fun, my dear Capricorns, and I wish you the best of luck. We have Aquarius and Moon or Rising. You're gonna have Uranus, your ruler, going retrograde from the fifth house of joy, romance, children, love affairs, back into the fourth house of home, family, emotional foundations, your ancestral lineage, your roots, your mother. So since 2018, Uranus in Taurus, it has been shaking up the very, very roots of your life. It's about family dynamics, about living situations, roommates. Your sense of belonging might all have undergone a very big sudden disruption, or some very liberating change. So, since July this year, Uranus has entered your fifth, and your attention really began shifting towards children, very lightning strikes and surprises within your creativity and your inspiration that lead towards a shift in self-expression. But before this continues, the retrograde here is calling you back to your roots. You need to revisit old emotional patterns, family conditioning, and the question of what truly makes you feel at home. So, on a deeper level, Uranus, of course, it is your chart ruler. So, this means that all these transits, they speak directly to your identity, to the way how you experience freedom, and also to your life direction. And with Uranus going back to the fourth, what kind of foundation truly supports your unique individuality? And does your home and your family and your emotional patterns fully align with the liberated person that you are becoming? Definitely with Pluto in your sign, guys. This is a big transformation. So it's actually about your inner stability and the freedom to define home on your own terms. So this is going to bring some unpredictable dynamics in your family life. There can be sudden, abrupt changes in your living situations or within roommates. There can be breakthroughs in emotional awareness regarding all these themes. You might have these sudden insights, and it can be like a lightning bulb that goes on, and now the truth is illuminated, and you cannot unsee it unsee it anymore. So yeah, for some it's gonna mean exploring unconventional family structures. Some of you are gonna feel called to chase an alternative lifestyle, even nomadic lifestyle as well. It can also involve breaking free from generational cycles. You guys need to heal family conditioning, and I think you might feel like an outsider again within your family with Uranus in the fourth. I know people who are born with Uranus in the fourth, and they are actually adopted, or they felt like an alien within their family structure, and they felt like they had like a lot of questions if their mom and dad was truly their mom and dad, because they could not relate at all. So that is a theme that can resurface right now. So yeah, everything that feels too restrictive in regards to family, you're gonna need to like change that. So yeah, allow yourself to like carry forward in a freer emotional foundation with Uranus that's gonna continue its journey through your fifth house next year, from April 2026, and then joy, romance, and creativity will flourish on top of your true inner liberation in the fourth that you need to go through right now. So home is not where you're actually told to. Home is not where you're being told where you belong. It is actually the space that you create where your soul feels completely free to be its unique, eccentric, electrifying self. So good luck, my dear Aquas. And Katie says, I always thought I was from another planet. Yes, I like this weird world, and it's also very, very difficult for me to relate with sometimes. A lot of people, they act from a place where they do something for another because they gain by it themselves. And I know Aquariuses, they are more like how it's going to benefit the whole collective and the whole group. And that's why I love Aquas. They do indeed look at the group dynamics, and if everyone feels good and can be themselves. That's why I love them. And Stain says, I got Uranus in my fourth house indeed. Yeah, I know, Stain, it's not easy. But it's gonna shift signs again soon by next spring, summer. So, And Skylar says, "Oh my god, reach my so happy Verda from Bermuda. Ah, huge fan. I now look after my elderly in-laws. Oh my god, so exhausting. Yes, they have no money and I have to provide for them. I have no freedom. Oh my god, Skylar, that is so tough for you. And yeah, as a Virgo, I totally understand you here within the family. And there have been some, yeah, difficult things as well in regards to the same teams as you mentioned here for the last 4 years actually. So yeah, after a while it just gets too much. And I think now as Virgo, and actually for everyone that's listening right now, with Saturn and Neptune back into the sign of Pisces, it's very, very difficult. The energy is very difficult, and we're gonna have a very big reality slap in regards to where we have not been putting up strict enough boundaries. Where have we been too empathic? Where have we been too compassionate? And Saturn asks us to draw a line for our own sake, for our own well being. And the lunar eclipse in Pisces will be a big emotional release for a lot of people. And then 2 weeks after, we have the solar eclipse in Virgo, and then we, by purging on the lunar eclipse, we will make space for like new daily routines to be put into motion, and a lot of things are going to change, but it's not going to be easy. So last but not least, we have my beautiful Pisces and Moon or Rising. So Uranus is going to retrograde from your fourth house of family, home, and your emotional foundations, and your ancestral patterns and lineage and karma. And it's going to move back into your third house of communication, local environment, your siblings, how you speak, talk, how you communicate. It's also the mind in the third house. So since 2018, Taurus has been, Uranus in Taurus has been radically reshaping how you think, how you speak, how you connect with your local environment. You might have experienced some unexpected moves, some changes in neighborhoods, and also some shifting within your local community. There can also be breakthroughs in self expression and maybe a little bit more shocking conversations or shocking revelations within communications, especially also with your siblings. So, recently, Uranus has moved into your fourth house from July 2025. And that actually began to stir some questions around your roots and your family and your roommates and the stability within that, or the lacking stability within that. So, before Uranus continues its journey here fully, the retrograde now is going to pull all of this energy back into the third. And it's going to ask you to reconsider whether your local environment and your thought patterns, if that supports or hinders your deeper sense of belonging. And on a deeper level, Uranus rules your 12th house of subconscious patterns, hidden enemies, hidden patterns, self-sabotaging behavior. Yeah, this makes the retrograde especially potent for exposing these unseen mental loops in which you keep being stuck. It's about unconscious narratives. It's about limiting self-talk. So Uranus here says freedom really begins within the mind. And if your thoughts have actually kept you small or fearful, or bound to these old stories that have been long ended, then this is your moment to fully rewire your perspective and fully liberate your voice. Think about old ties with siblings, with neighbors, with your local community. All these things might resurface, and then offering some resolution, or there can also be unexpected reconnections within that. And you could also feel a bit restless within your current environment. And you can be questioning whether your city or your neighborhood, if that still feels aligned for you. So for some, this is going to spark dreams of moving far away to far land. Some of you are going to want to travel over water. You can also be exploring new surroundings. And Uranus in the third also brings breakthroughs in communications. There can be a sudden urge to write a book or write a blog or to podcast or to publish something or to share your ideas in a very bold, unconventional new way. So yeah, books, podcasts, all these things could really, yeah, shift everything and actually reshape your worldview for years to come. So yeah, experiment with your expression and your curiosity. Learn something unconventional, explore a new technology. You can also find radical new ways of connecting. The third is also about being on the road, and Uranus is about electricity. Some of you can have problems with their electricity within your car. If you drive an electric car, then that might be a little bit of a problem, especially if Uranus makes bad aspects to your own natal planets in your birth chart, and unexpected things happening while driving. So be a bit mindful about that, especially because Uranus rules your 12th house of the hospital as well. I just want to mention that be a little bit more mindful while driving. Don't drive when you're too tired or too angry, because then the energy of Uranus is going to be channeled through that on the road. So, but the third house is also our daily technologies, what we use, like our computer, our phone, our car. These are all these daily technologies. There can be shakeups and replacements or changes within that as well. So yeah, Uranus here, it reminds you that the inner security begins with mental freedom. And by February, when it goes back direct, you're gonna have a greater clarity about the environment and also the mindset that you want to fully root into. So it's actually preparing you for Uranus's full dive into your fourth, where home, family, ancestral lineage, the bloodline, patterns, emotional foundations will, yeah, drastically transform in the 7 and 8 years ahead of us. So yeah, change your thoughts, and you will change the ground that you stand on within your local environment as well. So good luck, my dear Pisces. So, Katie says, I am becoming aware that I need better boundaries. Yeah, me as well. Some people have been making me aware of that as well. And we send a lot of love and we give thanks and praises to the people who are helping us with that, even if that's not a lot of fun. And thank you so much for saying all these kind things, Katie. I'm gonna see you all back pretty soon for the lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, which is gonna happen on the 7th of September. I'm gonna try to do the video on the 3rd or the 4th as soon as possible. Because yeah, that's it is actually the best eclipse of the entire year. We only have 4 this year, so this one is trining Jupiter, which is actually the traditional ruler of Pisces. So I think, even though there's gonna be very yeah, emotional releases with lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, the fact that it trines Jupiter means that whatever falls away is gonna be giving us a lot of blessings, even if we don't really see it immediately. Pisces can be about deception, about lies, about cheating. So, yeah, luckily it trines Jupiter, and it will be giving us more wisdom in how to really fully integrate the things that we release during the lunar eclipse. So, hey, Kiki, La, and Stain says, okay, Astrid, I will not remove myself from the pressure cooker. Just sweat it out. Yes, Stain, sweat it out. We all need to visit the sauna so we can get it over with soon. And yes, exactly. Hang in there, Stain. We can all do it. So thank you guys all so much for joining me today. And I'm wishing you all the best of luck. And I hope we are going to have a good eclipse season. So hold on tight, brace yourself, grab your chair. We are almost in that. We are actually already in that energy. So yeah, I'm sending you all a lot of love, and I will see you back soon. Bye bye.